Welcome to Sister My Soul, a podcast birthed out of our hearts. Two soul sisters with nearly 2 decades of combined wisdom as experts in our fields of holistic and alternative therapies. This is Carrie Campbell.
And I'm Victoria Jaswick. Our intention is to offer the essence of soul sister connection that calls us to our best. Nourishing conversation that deepens connection to self, soul, and one another.
For the next hour, we'll explore concepts, perspectives, transformational and healing tools that support us on our journey as women and sisters. We are so grateful you are here to join us for some nurturing Sister My Soul time.
Well, welcome to our first Sister My Soul podcast. Yay!
Exciting!
We're here. We did it.
Here.
So we're going to talk more about how we got here and what all that took. That moment of inspiration of, do you want to do a podcast to this moment? So I think it might be important to talk about where the idea came from.
Yeah.
Also, maybe we should back up a step and how did we even meet?
And,
yeah.
Aside from in the grocery store.
Right. It was before the grocery stores.
At the dairy aisle.
Right.
Being tempted by the cheese.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll share how I met you, or I first became aware of you. I was in the middle of my health crisis journey, coming out, and someone said, there's a wonderful yoga teacher. And so I knew that my body was really fragile and not in a place that I could do much, but I thought you could do yoga. So I went to your class.
Not your mama's yoga.
I could not do yoga. And I talked to you, and you said,
afterwards,
maybe, go to the beginning and come back another time. And I
go to
okay.
a more nurturing class first.
Right. So I did that. But I had just a connection with you instantly. And I was joking with you one day. I said it was like a female crush, like, wow, she's amazing, And that was it. So then I went to the other yoga class. Then I saw you a few different places in town.
I remember us meeting at a clothing swap.
Oh, that was prior to yoga. That was a long time ago.
I was going to say, I was thinking that we met at the yoga swap.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember noticing your gorgeous Rapunzel hair. And your beautiful eyes. Your that soul connection in the eyes. And I thought, now that she feels like a woman that I would like to get to know.
Yeah.
And then another year went by.
I think it was 3 years because I remember that we exchanged cards because in addition, someone said, you two should know each other. We exchanged cards and never called each other.
Isn't that interesting?
Fast forward 3 years later, yoga class.
Wow.
Then I see you in, I think, a couple places, but this one time in particular.
I remembered your name.
And you remembered my name.
Because I love the name Victoria.
I was totally impressed. Like, my yoga teacher knows my name. I was totally like, wow. And then I think I just said, what are you up to? Because I think you had stopped doing yoga at that time.
I have and still am now. It's gone into a extended sabbatical from teaching.
Yeah. And you said...
I'm doing private, but not classes,
Yeah. I said, what are you up to? And I think you said...
I'm working on a book.
And I said, me too. And
our eyes lit up.
Yeah. And we need to talk.
You're like, yay, somebody that can hold me accountable.
Yeah. and then I think I took your number or card swap again.
Right.
But... This is a tip for anyone who's ever done this, where you have intention to get to know someone. Yep. You take their card, you tuck it away, you never ever call.
Right.
I went immediately to my car and I texted you immediately and said, "Let's get together."
Yeah.
And then we did.
And it was wonderful, and it's been awesome ever since.
Yeah.
Definite soul sister connection.
Yes.
And that I am just so grateful for.
Me too. I know. And what's unfolded from there. Like, not only are we supporting each other with our books and our, private practices, but also just what else is coming through this connection.
Through this sort of unintentional but obviously spirit-guided collaboration text that I sent you. Talk about that.
Oh, right. Well, see, and so in my story, so Carrie and I made this commitment to meet once a week to talk about our books and just kind of support each other. for me, I want to side note that it was such a deep longing in my heart to reconnect with a really true soul sister. And we will probably talk more about what soul sister means to us. But for me, it was someone I knew I could trust, who was on a similar path, who I could be myself with, who would be a mirror. And I was like, I had been looking, and I think I told you, I finally surrendered. I was like, I just think I'm supposed to just be in my own little cocoon right now, doing my own thing. Yeah. So it was a real gift. And so Carrie and I were texting back and forth about something, and my story is she accidentally wrote the word collaboration, and I jumped on it, and I wrote back right away, you want to collaborate? What about doing a podcast? And sometimes, because sometimes our texts, they can take a little while for responses, but it was immediately. Yep. And your response was, yep.
Yes! Exclamation point, 2 of them.
Yes, that's right.
You know that's serious when there's serious. 2.
I was like, whoa, we're doing this. I knew right then.
Absolutely.
We're going to do this.
Yeah, I knew, and that with the title of this podcast, and you said that Sister My Soul had been something that you had been tossing around for a while, or had been holding close near to your heart for a while. And when we were thinking about a name and you said that, it was instantly, yes. Yeah. That is what we need as a collective of women. That is what we need. Right. We need that feeling of, what is a soul sister? Soul sister to me is someone who, like you said, you can trust, has my back, that knows me. And if she doesn't know me from the we're fairly new friends, right? Quite honestly, very new in the grand scheme of life. We're very new friends. Yeah, fresh relationship. But I think what has allowed us to become so close so quickly is that we're both very honest, and we value that very much in one another. And from that, there's also with you, what I feel is this base of, it's my intention and my desire to see you at your best and your highest self. And I feel like we make the assumption with one another, this is a good way to make an assumption, that we are coming from that place. Yeah. So even when we've had those times of, hey, this didn't feel right, what's going on? We were able to pretty easily move through that because I feel like we have this solid ground of, I know you have my best interest at heart, and I have your best interest at heart. And we're trudging out from there in this world of adult friendship.
Yeah, right. And that's actually one of our episodes we're going to do down the road a bit, is establishing those secure friendships. I mean, it's different when you're growing up and you go through school together and
the
all
slow cooked.
Say that again. You told me
the
that.
Slow cooked. Is it the slow cooker relationship or is it the Instant Pot relationship? We got the Instant Pot.
Well, we had an Instapot connection that felt like a slow cooked friendship. That's a soul sister friendship.
It's the beautiful of the Instant Pot,
Right. Right. So a gifting, and I think most people can recognize that distinction with a soul sister and just acquaintances, and we all have different associations to what that is. But this I think with the word soul, it's a helping one unfold potential and purpose and all of those things. It's such a rich feeling, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, and and I didn't think about this when I said that just a moment ago, but when I said, I know you have my best interest at heart and I have your best interest at heart, and we're looking for each of our highest selves. Yes. Soul sister. That's kind of, the deepest friendship connection we could have is looking to be one another's sister from the soul standpoint. What are we all from the soul? We're highest light. We're highest vibration. We're beauty. We're clear. We're love.
Yeah, love.
Yeah, love.
Yeah, and so Sister My Soul, which is why I love this term, and I believe, if I could track it, it's been so many years, it came to me like in a meditation, but sister, is a verb and a noun. Like, can I help cultivate that
Yeah.
that greatest
Right.
within you, and you do the
Right.
same for me.
Absolutely.
And love and accept me when I'm not there.
Right.
Right. And what was interesting about us is that I think it was like the second time we got together just to talk about our books, and we could feel this dropping into a deep place. And I think we had a conversation about trust,
Yeah.
like, and how important that was to both
Yep.
of us.
Yep.
And another topic, another episode
Mm-hmm.
that unfortunately as women, we do experience betrayal from other women.
Usually from a sense of competition,
Right.
or ego interest,
Yeah.
or insecurities is
Right.
usually where it all comes from. But yes,
Yes. Which I think
trying
we're
to
just
get
gonna,
that one up for whatever reason.
well, and here's another episode in the future, right? Because
Yeah.
we've gone through episode ideas, and that is rising the sacred feminine from a
Mhm.
patriarchal model, right?
Exactly.
That paradigm that's shifting right now,
Yeah.
where a lot of women, yes, of course, not organically, we are
Mhm.
collaborators. We've got your back, but in this patriarchal model system, it's been a sense of needing to compete.
Right. Fight for what we. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fight for what you need, want,
Yeah.
what have you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
thank God that's shifting,
Yes.
but we are still kind of in the ripple effect of it and still
Right.
being tossed around by it somewhat. And I think that deeply unconsciously,
Mhm.
many of us aren't even aware that we're still coming from that paradigm.
Right. And I think it puts you at this place of that feeling of competition of, in order for me to get on the top, I gotta,
Yeah.
make sure I'm
Yeah.
in the lead,
Yeah.
that I'm there first, that I have the best, that
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's probably not only just the patriarchal, but it's also the capitalism. It's the
Mhm.
profit oriented and sort of, I don't know, there's something else. There's scarcity and abundance, and there's only so
Right.
much when we
Right.
can shift to this. It's abundant.
It's abundant.
Yeah.
There's so, my gosh, the universe is abundant.
Yeah.
And the more we step into that mindset, and the more that we draw that into our heart and into our vibration and give that out to others,
Mm-hmm.
the more we're going to get of this.
Yes.
That soul sister connection.
Right.
And I love that I'm seeing that more out there, even in social
Mhm.
media. Just the term of soul sister,
Yeah.
I think it's reverberating.
Mhm.
And that is a beautiful thing, because that's truly what this world needs right now, is that connection, that band of women saying, you know what, I'm tired of that competitive feeling, and I want us to come together.
Yes.
I want us to come together and feed and nurture one another,
Mhm.
and raise each other to the top together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And most women that you talk to fortunately have had that experience of at least one really good friend
Mhm.
who sees them, loves them, accepts them, and
Right.
kind of helps them move forward. And,
Right.
when I was in Los Angeles, I was blessed with lots of good friends and
Mhm.
two best friends since I was 15.
Yeah.
But then I moved.
The slow cooked.
Yeah, super slow cooked. And those kind of friendships that you could go back to, whether you talked
Mhm.
yesterday or 6 months ago. And
Yeah.
it's right there waiting for you. And I had difficulty creating friendship in the new location that I moved to.
Yeah. And I think you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because we have such a transient world now.
Yes.
People are, the internet kind of makes us feel a little bit closer, but people just have scattered and moved all over the world.
Right.
And so,
Yeah. It's funny, I have a metaphor for that. The Facebook connection, I think of it as like opening the refrigerator, looking for something to eat, and you're just staring because you're so hungry, and like, oh, maybe this, and it's not nourishing. There's nothing there. Like, we're just, it's like false nutrition,
Yeah.
false connection.
you can't eat a picture
Yeah.
of chocolate cake.
Yeah, you want that connection of friendship, and it
Mhm.
feels sort of like maybe you're getting
Yeah.
it, but it's not real. So, so that is part of this intention here too, is that we wanted to create a space not for for us to share some of our healing modalities and the things
Right.
we do, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but also to outreach to women out there who, for whatever reason, they're busy, which how many of us now, we call a friend and they don't pick up, goes right to voicemail.
Right.
And
hey, if you need something, text me.
Right. And then even with the texting now, I notice slower responses. Like even my best friend, I texted her yesterday, I need prayer. I was kind of having a day and I haven't heard from her yet. So because we're so busy in our worlds with our families and all of that. So an hour, and I think we're going to offer this every other week, 2 times a month, where we invite women to just sit with us just to sit and be with us as we explore friendship and communication, connection, healing ideas, different perspectives.
Yeah. And just coming to a place where, we can get clear with our intention of what it is that we truly desire in that connection and the lifting up in and of other women, and how we go about that, how we go about making ourselves. I know we're going to do a whole podcast on how do we make sure that we ourselves are a trustworthy woman of that friendship. Right. What is it that we offer? Yeah. And what is it that we bring to the table? And have we been able to work enough to get that ego out of the way that we can really honor true friendship and be in true friendship with another woman?
Yes. And we've also talked about taking personal responsibility and sharing from that place, and which was so great. We were able to do that right away because, it's sort of our professions, but also our desire for that deeper connection and truth speaking. Yeah. And it's not something you can do with everyone. There has to be mutual agreement to that. And a willingness. And this is what's, soul sister connection is, that though your words may be hard to hear, I trust it comes with love. Right. And it's for my highest good. Exactly. Right? Exactly. And I think when the first time you shared something with me, like there was something a little off with something I communicated or something. And
when you had carb loaded?
Oh, yeah. That's what it was.
And you checked out?
That was so,
and I was
that's
like,
exactly what it was.
Here?
Yeah. Carrie and I had gone to lunch, which was another reason we thought about this podcast, how the times we'd gone for a quick lunch and just catch up. And wouldn't that be great if we had that for more women to do that? And Carrie and I were talking, and I ordered pasta, which I very rarely ever do. And I'm eating my pasta.
And she hadn't had anything else yet.
That was it. Yeah. I'm eating my pasta and talking, and I'm thinking I'm doing all right.
2/3, 3/4 of the way through, I think it was.
And then I don't think you said anything then, but you called me later.
No, we were on our way out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We were to our cars, and I was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm like, "No, I'm fine. Why?" Yeah.
Yeah. And then you messaged me. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So the other thing with our connection is, Carrie and I are both very empathetic, sensitive people. She picked up on something I wasn't aware of, which is another gift of a soul sister. We spend so much time with our blind spots. We don't really see the fullness of ourselves, even though our intention is something other. So she said, "What's going on?" And I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized driving home, I was sort of foggy, lightheaded. Yeah, I just had a bunch of carbs and no protein. Right. And I kind of just
checked out.
Yeah, I was having a blood sugar drop.
I thought I'd said something. I was like, did I say something maybe? But then I was like, what could it have been?
No,
But we put that out there.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to go home and ruminate or think.
Yeah.
What happened? Was she upset by something? What went on? Yeah. Because we were both able to, it was a safe space to be honest and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And, you being aware enough to come back and say,
pasta doesn't like me.
I fritzed.
I fritzed. And what a gift. And I guess one of my intentions here for us, maybe, I don't know if it's too grandiose, but to model that for people who, what is that like to, because we've done some practice recordings. In fact, this is one, every single one we do is going to be a practice one, and we don't know how it's going to go. But there was one time we were recording and you said, something's going on with you right now. And we just kind of processed it right then and there. And I said to you, I value this so much. Because what happens if we don't do this as sisters is this stuff accumulates in between the connection.
Right. Well, as Brene Brown says, confabulation. We go off and we confabulate in our head what's going on for the other person.
Yeah, we are making up these stories that have nothing to do with reality.
Right.
And it creates greater division and separateness. And then we get into our own negative self-talk, even more division and separation from the person and ourselves and our highest potential. So that's another piece that's really important in cultivating soul sister friendships. So these are all parts of the things that we're going to sort of weave into this time. And, also, I think we should talk about our professional backgrounds.
Yeah, because we're going to be bringing the insights that come from our perspectives, our gifts, our research. I mean, both of us have studied for a long time.
I know.
We got certifications out the wazoo.
Right. But years and years of collective wisdom together. But so talk about your professional background and your trainings and your what your focus is.
Yeah. I started out, and this may seem like it doesn't have anything to do with Sister My Soul, but I really think that everything we go through in life does. Started out as a Montessori teacher when my girls were younger, working with a classroom of 30 kids and 3 aides. And then moved on to, once my children got to middle school age, became a yoga instructor, bought into a studio, and thus kind of, I had already been on the holistic journey of learning, taking courses on, herbs and things like that way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then just proceeded to there. My dad always used to say, Carrie, why can't you choose one thing and just get really good at it? It is so not in my nature to choose one thing. And so, then came the yoga instructor, and then the supplement specialist, and then the energy work, and then the massage therapy and the myofascial release. And what's beautiful is the alchemy of how all of those now are connecting for me, and what I'm able to offer clients in helping them learn their bodies and how it's a biofeedback system once we learn how to read energy via emotion that's coming to us.
Yeah.
And so I'm just so grateful for what I get to do this lifetime around.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I remember when we talked about the idea of a podcast, you said, which was perfect, we're a lot of alike, but different enough to be able to go off on different topics. Because a lot of those topics, interested. Do I know anything about them? Not so much. And also you have a nutritional coaching component?
I do. I'm a raw and superfood nutritionist through the David Wolf program.
Yeah. Awesome. So these are pieces that I don't have.
See, she had my back. I forgot that. That's what a soul sister does.
That's what we do.
I'm like, hey, don't you have one more?
I'm sure there's even more. And I think we also share that eclectic gathering. And it's actually one of a workshop I used to teach was creating a personal vision for your authentic journey. And it was about creating vision, pulling the puzzle pieces together of your life to see what you're here to do.
Right.
And so the way you talked about it, back in the day, it was like, pick one thing. But most of us, especially, this feels like, to me, it feels like such a Renaissance time. Like,
it really does.
Just waking up to the light and doing all these very eclectic things that create this beautiful picture of our own unique purpose, right? Yeah. So I also have very eclectic and kind of a very
beautiful, fabulous background. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us,
I'm
please.
going to tell you, and a very, I want to say this for anyone out there who's like, what's my purpose? And fear of time running out or too late and what age and blah, blah, blah. Because I had a really, an early knowing I was going to be a healer, a therapist. when I was 15 and ordered Psychology Today, right? And all
I love it.
but the unfolding of it has taken many, many years, and it's still unfolding. But when I was, 17 and found Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and like this other way of being that started to call to me. But really, I didn't, I was sort of a really lost soul, just sort of, glomming on to everybody else's dream because I didn't know how to connect to myself. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s, really. I mean, all this time I've been taking classes and training and working on myself. I mean, there was a lot of stuff to work on for my own journey for my own healing. But it wasn't until I was in my 30s, and I was actually working at the Grammy Awards and thinking, what am I doing here? Now, most people would go, wow,
I'm
exciting.
working at the Grammy Awards.
What a great job.
Right.
And I would sit in my little area and think, I'm supposed to be doing something more. I'm supposed to be helping people. And my undergrad work was in psychology, and it was like sporadic. I'd take a few classes here, a few classes there. And then I heard about hypnotherapy, and I kept, I think I've shared this with you. I have a healthy cynic, and I was like, whatever, hypnotherapy, what is that? And I heard it a couple times, and I knew it was a message for me, and I went, and so I became a hypnotherapist. From there, I studied at Agape. I was on my way to become a licensed practitioner through Agape. But then I was called up here we are actually in Sequim, Washington.
Which I'm very grateful for.
Yes, so grateful because this is where we met.
Yeah.
And love it here. We're so blessed here. And I was called up here to open up a holistic healthcare center with other women. And from there, just kept unfolding in different trainings. And I've worked as a grief counselor for hospice, and I've done workshops, and gosh.
And she has the most beautiful hypnotic voice to hold space while you are working with her. Yeah.
Thank you, sister.
So,
yeah.
I guess we say all that to maybe put your mind at ease. We know a little bit about what we're talking about.
A little bit.
Just maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
But, with that, though, yes, we want to share tools that we have collected because we have a bunch. And that's the whole point. We want to help each other grow potential and all of that.
Absolutely.
And I often say that whenever I'm teaching a workshop, too. This is just what I've gathered that made sense to me, that resonated with me. It may not resonate with you. Yeah. Hopefully it will, right?
But all with the underlying intention of, bringing more love to the heart of women for one another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really wanting to nurture that connection.
Yeah.
Because as much as we like to think we don't need anybody.
Right.
We do.
Yeah,
we need one another.
Yeah.
And the more we can learn to let those guards down and let the barriers down and call for that help when we need it, the more we can trust one another and the more we can grow together. Yeah.
It's really, because I went through an isolating time, and I've shared with you, and we'll talk more about this later, where with my health crisis, and I just really went into, as many of us do, into that cocoon time, just totally withdraw. But it was getting to be pretty chronic. And I didn't know how to, I realized in my psychology, I didn't know how to reach for help because I'm used to being the helper.
Exactly.
Right?
It's so hard for the healer to ask for help.
Exactly. It's very humbling, and it's a lot
of shame.
A lot of,
We have to,
Yep. Which is another
work
thing.
Through that.
We've talked about, and that's another. We have so many juicy topics for you all. I mean, really, honestly, and that's one of them. The healer's journey of healing, humbling, and one can feel all the negative core beliefs come rising up. I failed. What did I do wrong? And so those are things too. We're going to explore. We're going to unfold these as organically as we can, but we also want to sort of take you in the way we process, where we're aware of our beliefs and our core beliefs, and we take accountability for them. And we have a friend that uses this phrase. She says, "Let's workshop that together."
Oh, I like that.
I love that too. Yeah. And so we can workshop that. Like I had this feeling coming up, this belief connected to it, and you have a term for it.
Hold up that mirror. Well,
hold up that mirror.
Yeah, for me, I try to focus on that myself. Even in this last year, my intention at New Year's last year was help me recognize that mirror. Because most of the time, when a mirror is thrown up, we want to throw the scarf over it. We don't want to see that. And so, just asking, okay, how can we be one another's mirror?
Right.
And take that with grace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And see it for the gift that it is. Mm-hmm. And respond more than react.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. And that's a whole episode in itself.
Right.
How do you learn to respond and not react? Right. Yeah.
How do we train ourselves away from that, like we were talking about earlier before, that addiction to emotion, whatever emotion it is, whether it's positive or negative, and that's usually when we come into that place of reaction rather than responding, is because we go to our MO,
right.
And to be, I think, in true friendship, we have to really learn to realize, okay, this is the mirror for me. Mm-hmm. Where do I, when something is really making me react, where do I see myself in that?
Yes. What's coming up, what's alive in me in this moment that I can work with.
Yeah, exactly.
And not just...
And it's inspiring and invigorating when you can begin to do that for yourself. Mm-hmm. Is it easy? No,
definitely not.
No. Do you usually come in kicking and screaming? Yes.
Right.
But when you finally, get that and set that as your intention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realize that we're kind of going all over the place with this first podcast, but that's really what it's for, is to just kind of give the listeners a taste of what it is we feel called to do with this podcast and bring the alchemy of our experiences together and respectively and, let you all out there know, hey, this is what you can expect. And if you'd like to spend that 45 minutes with us, we would love to have you, because really it was born for you.
Right. Yeah.
The intention of giving, hey, we're midway through life. Mm-hmm. We can pretty solidly be considered middle-aged.
Oh, you had to
I'm
go
living
there.
I'm living to 100.
Yeah. Right.
Our combined age, we are 100 over, right?
Wow.
Ooh, that's something to think about,
right?
right?
Something to think about. Yeah. As you were talking, I just had this image of like this big pot of yummy stew, right? Or whatever your favorite food is, but nourishing, nurturing. Yeah. And in fact, one of my favorite stories is the story of, it's heaven and the other place, kind of getting the demonstration of what that looks like, and walking into a room and there's a big pot of stew or whatever with a long ladle, and everyone in this first room is emaciated and they're just they're starving and they're angry and they're miserable, right? And so then they go to the next room, same scenario, same big pot of yummy, nourishing food, long ladles. And this room, everyone is joyous and well-fed and just beautiful. Everything is glorious here. And the person says, well, what's the difference between this room and that room? Which is, one is heaven. And the guide says, well, this room, they learn to feed each other. With those long ladles, like, you're hungry, let me feed you.
Yeah.
Right? And taking turns.
I love
Isn't that beautiful?
that.
And I don't know the origin of that, but I have to find that. But imagery. I always think of that. And so here now at this podcast, you and I are pouring all of our wisdom and what we've personally worked on in our own healing work.
And fed each other with.
And putting it in this big pot to offer each other and those we are grateful who'd listen, that we would hope and pray that they feel nourished and nurtured.
And by interacting with us, nurture us back.
Exactly.
We absolutely have more to learn from those of you out there listening.
Always.
And I think that's the key, is beginning to look at that sisterhood of friendship as how can I nurture my sister, not what can I get out of this.
Yeah.
But what can I do for you?
Mm.
How can I feed you?
Right. And I think of a true sister, soul sister connection.
Oh, yeah.
Is like these various roles. At any given time, we will play for each other or offer. I mean, my best friend, one of my best friends since I'm 15, sometimes she feels like mother to me. We're the same age, but she holds that space.
Right.
Or sometimes we move in, to a sort of a therapist role and holding space that way.
Yeah.
These various, just a good friend or whatever, we can play these different roles for each other.
And then sometimes we just go out and have fun together.
And sometimes we just get crazy.
Yeah.
We have yet to do that. We have to just let our hair down. Because we're always so like, what are we doing now? We're so purposeful and professional and wanting to get to. And because it's both of us have a lot of purpose we want to, we're focusing on right now.
Right. And there are many different chapters of relationships and types of relationships. And this relationship definitely came together with purpose.
That's where we are,
from the beginning.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, I think, and I can only speak for myself, but for me, I know that I feel like the heat has been turned up on what are you here to bring? I know I've been blessed and grateful that I transitioned in my 30s into a whole new career, which has been fruitful and so rich, and supporting people for 17 years through this hypnotherapy. I call it being a soul guide, which I love, but I knew there was more. And I'm like, it's time to bring it. And that you were right there too, was like, let's just, do this.
Yeah.
And
keep that fire lit for one another when it's dimming for ourselves, maybe.
Yeah,
and that's really what it's about. And just that, hearing what she said about, when she came into knowing of a second career, really, as I'm doing now as well.
Yeah.
You women who are out there in your 20s and 30s,
and beyond.
Go for the gusto of what you're doing now. Yeah. And drop the fear of, oh my gosh, who am I going to be? What am I going to do? What's my purpose?
Yes.
Because that may shift, that may change, it may stay the same. But the more energy you input into what it is you're doing now, the better off your heart will be, and your mind for that matter.
Right.
Don't worry so much.
And it's never too late. They're all puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Everything you're doing right where you are is a puzzle piece for the greater vision of what you're here to do.
It's going to be a building block for whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the older women, I want to, speak to women who, because you said 20s and 30s, and I'd say 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, but wherever you are, whatever age you are, your purpose is still alive and well. It's just about how you reclaim it. And so in that case, they'd go backwards to see all of those puzzle pieces and bring it forward. But it's never too late to bring what we're here to bring, right? Never. In fact, I think it's vital that we do.
Right.
Continually be willing to ask what's my purpose and move in some direction anyway. Right. Do something, right?
Yeah, that growth, that learning.
Yeah. So I didn't even pay attention to the time when we started.
I think it's time
wrapping
to wrap
up time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been, again, just a little intro to what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be...
breaking of the ground.
Yay! Yeah. We'll probably be more topic focused other times.
Yeah.
In fact, we invite you to let us know what topics you'd like us to talk about and explore together.
Yeah.
We have a list of them, but we want to hear from you.
And know that every topic will be, I'm kind of a research geek, and I think Victoria and I share that. We like to feel solid in knowing that we know what we're talking about, or at least what we're offering. And so know that there will be that aspect of it. There's going to be research that goes into each podcast, and definitely experience and insight and
Yeah. I mean, I guess the greatest hope here is that we just hope that you're able to take something away, whether it's something that Carrie or I have researched or just something in passing through our conversation that really speaks to your heart. I remember hearing Louise Hay once say at a conference, she said, there's going to be 8 of us speaking today. We're all going to be saying similar things, the same messages, but hopefully at least one of the people will resonate with you.
Right.
So we hope that at least one of the concepts or ideas or something Carrie says or I say really just lands in your heart, and you can just take that with you and let it hold you. I think that's
and come away with a deeper sense of love, quite honestly, and compassion. And how can we show that more to those sisters of our soul?
Yes.
And extend out beyond,
Yeah. And I think
to our mates, to
the
world,
the
to
world.
our children.
Yes, it starts with us. It starts with us. And so
yeah.
I want to say that sistering each other's souls, but also keeping in mind to sister our own soul.
Yeah.
And so I think with our clothes, to as we were talking about earlier, like to be mindful of what do we need in each moment, you know. And as I shared, it could have been a whole other podcast, but I had a bumpy day yesterday, and I shared that with my soul sister here. Yeah. And like I'm still kind of coming out of that. So for me, as we conclude, I want to just claim grace and acceptance for myself right where I am, to hold me. And I want to invite people out there to think about what they need. And how about you, Carrie? What do you want to claim for you in this moment that will hold
gratitude?
You?
Just so much gratitude.
Yeah.
That you had this idea, quite honestly, and that you chose me to launch this baby with. We're birthing.
I don't think
this
I chose
baby.
You. I think
we chose
something else chose you. Something
we
grander
were
than
we
were
together.
It was just the right time, and you were the other vehicle. This message, idea, concept was to come through.
Yeah.
I was holding it, waiting for just this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it, I guess, for
thank
our time
you.
today.
Yeah, thank you so much to all of you out there who spent this last 45 minutes with us. And it is because of you that this will continue.
Right.
And we want to hear from you.
Yes.
Please visit, our podcast site and leave your comments and let us know your ideas.
Yeah. And there's contact information coming up. You'll hear that, and you can contact us through those ways. But in the meantime, take good care of yourselves and
sister your soul and one another's souls.
Absolutely. Be well.
Thank you for joining us today and taking this time to sister your soul. We would love to keep the conversation and connection going, so please visit us on our Sister My Soul YouTube channel and our Facebook page, where you can leave your comments and inspirations. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, and we wish you many blessings.